Hello, this is Team Dewmelier. We're here today to provide you with a new Dew Review so you can understand and pair today's Dew, Mountain Dew Voodew 2024. Voodew is the series of mystery flavors that release every year ahead of Halloween that are predominantly focused on candy flavors. It is a new flavor every year, and this is the sixth year. So let's get into the review. In terms of the aesthetics, there is a very clear focus on purple coloring on the label, but we'll get a closer look at that on the 12 pack because it is much larger and more visible there. Uh, Overall, you can see that the major theme of having the Voodoo Reaper character is very present and available to be seen on the right side of the box. On the left side, there's quite a few different elements. I see up in the top left, there's a planetary alignment. This is very similar, or I would say very akin to the Pitch Black redesign that was available a few years back. That planetary design, overall a purple coloring, makes me think that this might be a grape flavored or a purple flavored candy, but we'll see when we get there. Uh, as 2024 is the sixth year of Voodoo, we see a few hidden sixes across the overall design. The first one, most predominantly, is in the hand of the Reaper. It is a six with a eye in it. Behind the Reaper is a tree, and right below the tree's spooky mouth is another six. There aren't many sixes hidden on the left side, other than in the white planet up at the top. Another six is hidden in there, but there isn't really much way in terms of hidden sixes, other than general swirls, which may or may not be sixes, in the mist that's present in the graveyard scene on the bottom left. There is definitely a spooky kind of aesthetic present across the whole thing. There's creatures being rising out of graves. Here in the headstone, there is a hand throwing up the horns, as the uh, extreme stylings of Mountain Dew tends to have, with uh, another presence coming uh, out of a grave here. Let's look at the dew itself. The dew itself is very white, cloudy colored. This is very common to see in terms of the Voodoo flavors. Let's give it a pour. Nice, clear coloring. Uh, very distinctly white, kind of cloudy, but not very. It's not as cloudy as last year's flavor. Let's go into the aromatics. Interestingly, there is much more of a fruity component than a candy component in this, in the smell of this one. I would say that it does definitely give a sense of red fruit flavors, not so much in terms of grape or those sort of darker fruits, which is a little bit disappointing because there's like I felt a very large focus on purple in the label, but who can say what uh, how expectations always go? Let's get into the taste. There is definitely a very distinct flavor there. I would say that this is definitely a lot closer to a starburst, pink starburst, perhaps. Um, Not quite into the cherry. Um, Very clearly a soft pink berry flavor, uh, but overall it's more of a broad flavor than a distinct one. In terms of a pairing, I would say that this would go well with a chocolate flavor. But let's get into the review itself. I would say on a scale from 1 to 5, with 1 being spooky and 5 being scary, this is definitely the aesthetics are a 2. Definitely a spooky elements to the aesthetics, not much of a scary aesthetics. There's a few things that might scare you, but overall it's just more spooky in general. In terms of the aromatics, I would say on a scale from 1 to 5, with 1 being candy and 5 being fruity, the aromatics are much more of a 4. Very fruity, not much in terms of candy, but it is still a little bit there. In terms of the flavor, I would say that on a scale from 1 to 5, with 1 being a broad flavor and 5 being a distinct flavor, this is another 4. This is a very it's pretty distinct, being a red berry. Very much tastes like a pink starburst. What you would a strawberry flavored there. In terms of a pairing, I would say that this would probably go pretty well with chocolate, particularly milk chocolate, to match the softer fruit flavor that's present in this. But those are just my tasting notes. This has been Team Dewmelier with the latest new Dew review for you, our current and aspiring douceurs. Thanks for joining us.